Hello and welcome everyone to the latest rendition of our weekly server fantasy series, the CUFL Recap. In weeks 5 and 6 in the NFL, we saw a plethora of exciting and high-scoring matchups, and that means some more exciting fantasy matchups taking place in our server fantasy league. The ever-changing nature of the league was yet again on full display, as an exciting 2 weeks of matchups had teams climbing up and down the rankings. So let's see where each team ended up as we break down each of the past 2 weeks of matchups. Our first matchup had plenty of fireworks, as an entertaining and tightly contested matchup between the Columbus Clankers and Rish ended as an impressive win for Rish. Rish immediately set the tone on Thursday night, as the Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua connection was on full display in prime time. The QB wide receiver duo notched 50 combined points for Rish, giving the Clankers a mountain to climb as the week began. As Sunday kicked off, the Clankers were able to keep pace with Rish despite the early adversity. Productive performances from Jackson Smith and Jigba and Javonte Williams both were able to put up 27 points each, keeping them just within range. In fact, the Clankers had the lead by decimals as Sunday Night Football began, but with Rish's Dalton Kincaid still on deck to play and no players left for the Clankers, the victory was as good as sealed for Rish. Rish has had an exciting turnaround these past 2 weeks, as we'll have to see if the rebrand continues to bring them great success. As for the Clankers, their Achilles heel of inconsistent running back play continues to hold them back, as running back Derrick Henry has severely disappointed the team in the early season, despite being selected in the second round of the draft. Furthermore, the running back has reportedly been a part of trade discussions with the Black Boulder Barbarians, offering 2 chocolate chip cookies and a bag of Lay's chips for a package deal including him. We will update you at a later date to see if anything comes from this. Next up, we had a surprisingly close matchup between Finio and the Carolina Cornballs, with Finio barely outlasting the Cornballs in a high-scoring matchup. Finio looked fantastic this week, with nearly their whole roster putting up great numbers all around. Justin Fields and Jake Ferguson were particularly impressive, scoring 25 and 23 points respectively. Finio continues to look like a superstar lineup this season, as they advance to the second-seeded team. As for the Cornballs, their attempt to come from behind and kill the lights on Finio fell just short. Jonathan Taylor's 31 points and Deebo Samuel's 23 points helped the Cornballs reach a season-high 140 points of authority. However, starting the parasite known as Jacoby Myers was maybe the Cornballs' biggest mistake this week, as just 7 points from the starting wide receiver was a main factor of Josh's loss. Our next matchup was a down-to-the-wire finish on Monday night between the Black Boulder Barbarians and Jersh, with Jersh stealing a victory in a closely contended affair. Despite a mediocre performance from the majority of the Barbarians roster, rookie Emeka Egbuka came up huge for the team of men. His 31 points was a huge score for the Barbs, putting them in the lead during the late stages of the week. However, Jersh's counter-push was too strong for the 6 Elixir Barb Hut to defend. Needing 27.5 points on Monday night, Chiefs duo Travis Kelce and Xavier Worthy combined to 30 points for Jersh, sealing a hard-fought victory in the end. As a result, Jersh moves to the best record in the league at 4-1, capturing the first-place spot in our league. And now's the time for our Week 5 Absolute Cinema Game of the Week. In this week's edition, we have the Bayside Bird Brains and the Red 40 Ragers taking part in a matchup chock full of drama and stakes. In fact, this matchup was a family affair, with brothers John and Jackson managing each respective team. We knew we were in for an instant classic as soon as the week started, as the matchup was blown wide open out of the gates on Thursday night. Running backs went for huge points in the game, as Christian McCaffrey scored 27 for the Ragers, and Kyron Williams scored 31 for the Bird Brains. As the Sunday slate began, the scoring for both teams did not slow down one bit, as both teams totaled over 130 points in the matchup. However, the decisive blow of the matchup came from the number 1 overall pick of the fantasy draft this season, Ja'Marr Chase, redeeming himself for a lackluster Week 4 performance and bouncing back in a huge way. His 29 points in Week 5 had the Bird Brains soaring higher than they've ever had before this season, with a final point total of 160 points, being the second highest point total a team has scored this season. John's team was able to put Little Brother in their place, and put the league on notice of the Bird Brains' machine love. Now that we've covered all the action from Week 5, let's jump ahead and look at our Week 6 matchups. Our first matchup of Week 6 had Jersh getting yet another win, as the number 1 seed handily took care of Rish. Rish jumped out to yet another strong start this past week, as they led by as much as 60 points during the start of Sunday Night Football. Rico Dowdle has proved to be a huge free agency pickup, as his 34 points lit up the scoreboard once again for them. But thanks to a flurry of points from players starting late on Sunday and Monday, Jersh came roaring back, with 85 of their total points coming from just those two matchups. Drake London was maybe the most impactful contributor, as his 31 points secured yet another win for the 1 seed, extending their record to 5-1. As for Rish, this marks their first loss in the rebranded era. An injury to Puka Nacua was the biggest factor in this loss, as Rish wonders what could have been had their superstar wide receiver stayed on the field. Regardless, Rish hopes to bounce back next week and get back in the win column. Next up, we had the Bayside Bird Brains gliding past the Carolina Cornballs for a huge statement victory. The Bayside Bird Brains followed up their spectacular performance in Week 5 with an even more spectacular performance in Week 6. The threesome of Patrick Mahomes, Devon Achane, and Jamar Chase totaled 87.5 points for the Bird Brains in Week 6, and continue their streak as the hottest team in the league right now. With the strong roster they've put together and 160 plus points in back-to-back weeks, they're gonna have to teach me to be real careful. Real careful if you're against this team. As for the Carolina Cornballs, they can't seem to catch a break, as yet another solid performance was spoiled by a tough opponent. The team is dancing with the devil at the second to last spot in the league, and Josh is hoping the team can get a bounce back win in Week 7. Speaking of, let's check in on Josh to see how he's doing. Great! It looks like everything is as it should be for Josh. Following up, we have the Red 40 Ragers dominating the Black Boulder Barbarians. As many of you remember from last season, Ben's team steamrolled the league. However, it was swept by one team and one team only. And that team got yet another win over the reigning champs by 47 points. For the Ragers, they've really turned heads this year, establishing themselves as a squad that continues to grind for wins each week. George Pickens' 31 points was the leader for the Ragers as they continue their hunt for the title this season. And despite a 32-point performance by Josh Jacobs, the Barbs utterly underperformed this week and just couldn't get any elixir advantage whatsoever. So just like the Barbs' last place usage rate, the Black Boulder Barbarians continue to sit at the bottom of the league. And that leads us to our Absolute Cinema Game of the Week. Woo! Yay! I am going to kill myself. Look, man, I would like rehearse a script for this part, but I have no idea. I don't even know what to say, man. Like, started off the week like awful. Started off awful. I mean, what did Cam Scatterboo have? Like 30? What did he have? 31 points against the Eagles. Like, yeah, my fault. I should have guessed that. Golly. And I mean, like, that's what this does to you, man. Like, it crushes your hopes immediately. It brings you back. Like, Jackson Smith and Jigba, he got 30 points. Like, that's crazy. And, like, all of my team underperformed. They all suck this week. Saquon at 8, Javonte at 8, Garrett Wilson got hurt and had 4, Kyle Pitts, get out of here, he's cut yesterday. I mean, and here's the dumbest part too, is like, I had hope, we were coming into the week, the end of the week, it was Jaden Daniels and Kyle Pitts. I needed them to score 26 points. I mean, that's not crazy. And Jaden Daniels, he gets enough to put me in the lead in the last, like, 2 minutes of the game. All of the Commanders need to do, all they need to do is run the ball. Run the ball for a first down, or just, like, don't even know, man. They were winning too. They could have just taken a knee. They could have just done whatever. And it's raining, so I get it. But he fumbles! I took the lead by 1 point and he fumbles. A fumble is 2 points. That's negative 2 points.
Snap was fine, but watch the handoff. It looked like it was almost thrown into his stomach. Well, he didn't quite have, Jake Daniels never quite had it with, this miss that continues to fall. And
sorry if this segment isn't what you expected, but I mean, I'm losing patience for this stuff, man. Like, it's just dumb stuff like that. Like, what? I've been playing fantasy football for maybe 4 years. I've never lost like that. And I mean, let's be honest here. Like, if Finn is somehow watching this, if Buddy came back from the grave and he's watching this right now, I mean, let me be honest. And let's get real close here. Let's get real intimate, you and me. Not only are you the luckiest man alive, but you broke my heart, man. I'll remember this. I'll remember this, alright? Hey, anyways, congrats to the Bayside Bird Brains, Jersh, the Red 40 Ragers, and the one who must not be named, on getting a win this week. So let's take a look ahead at our Week 7 matchups. We've got the Columbus Clankers taking on Jersh, the Bayside Bird Brains taking on Finio, the Red 40 Ragers taking on Rish, and the Black Boulder Barbarians taking on the Carolina Cornballs. We have officially made it 1/3 of the way through our fantasy season, and seen a little bit of everything thus far. We've seen who the biggest difference makers are in the field, which teams need a little bit of a tune-up, and which teams are the teams to beat this season, who will continue to dominate the league and make a push for the league title. Will we see any teams make a late postseason run and rise from the bottom to the top? Will I regain my sanity? Find out next time on the next rendition of the CUFL Recap.